Kia ora everyone, we're going to go over how to set up layouts in Rhino. So let's get started. We've got some work here. I've put on the display mode monochrome, so you can see here, we can see the transparent element we've got and the other block here. So we want to create some layouts. So before we do that, there's some tabs and menus we want to add up. So in the top bar, if we right click, we can go show toolbars. So we can click on that. It'll take a second. And there's a whole lot of toolbars that aren't up by default. But to start with, we want to bring up the layout. Where are we? Here we go. So we can just check that button, and you can see we get a new tab at the top with some icons. There's also one in the panels that we want to bring up. So if we right click over here, show panels, and then there's actually two I want to bring up. Where are we? Come back. Layouts is one, and sun, let's bring that down, sun is another. So we've got two there. So to start with, we predominantly want the layouts. I've already created one page for the layout, so we can have a look at that, and I'll show you how to create those. Let's come up to the layout menu at the top, and we've got a few here. So layout properties, add detail view, copy current, and there's a few others. And we have a few things in here. So I've created one here. There's some tabs along the top. So here, new layout. So let's start there. So I'm going to click new layout, and it's got a name. So I'm going to call this 16 by 9 because we want something that will fit up and fill the screen when we present, because we're just presenting digitally, so we don't need it to be anything specific. And then here it's got initial detail count. So the detail are like these viewports. So we'll just start, maybe let's do 3 to start with. And then size, here you've got a whole lot of paper sizes, but I want a custom one, and we want it in landscape. And so we're going to do 420 millimeters by 236. And basically this is the size, 420 millimeters is the size of an A3 page, width-wise and landscape, and then the height is then set to 16 by 9, so which equals 236. And this allows you to still print out at full size 100% on an A3 page, which I think is quite good. So we can click apply, and we've got our new page. So you can see it brings in a few things by default automatically. So these, let's just zoom up a bit, standard and zoom extents. Here we go. So now we want to modify things a little bit and bring in some other pieces. So here, if we double click on this, we can see the plan view, and by default it's in wire mode, or wire mode. So if we click on here, and you can see it's set to wireframe, sorry. So I can set it to shaded, or I can even go, we'll just go to monochrome for now. So you can start to see that then fits in with what we may want our layout to look like. I'm going to change things because the way I've set it up in the plan isn't so good. So you can see here we've got that created. But if we come back to perspective view here, or let's go to double click on there and we get the 3 views. And at the moment these are all sort of not aligned, so if we bring these up and align them closely, you might want to spend a little bit more time getting that accurate. You can start to see now when we go back to layouts that the plan has aligned or updated. So without changing anything, we've made those in the same place. We can come in here, if we double click, this is like a window into that, so we can click on this and move it as well. And that will, you can see how it updated the other views, and that will then, if we come back to that, it's updated here as well. So they're sort of connected in each view, but we can set, we'll come back, set these up how we want. What I think is a good idea is to create some guides to help us lay out content once we're on the page. So if we come over to layers, we've got some there. I've been playing with something else. I've got glass. I want to create a new layer. So up here we've got a little new layer icon. I'm going to give it guidelines there, and then within this layers panel we've got quite a lot of control over things, so we can set how it responds. So print width, we can come down here and change how it looks. We want it to be no print. We don't want this to print, so we can apply no print. So you can see it's not going to print. We don't want it to be black. We want a different color. So I'm going to come in and just pick something in there and then apply. So now we've got like a blue cyan color that we can use, and we can see that it's no print. And we've got that no print in layout as well, so you can sort of have different qualities at different stages. So the layers are very, very powerful and worth exploring further. So let's just come back, here we go, bring that down. So I want to create a bit of a guide here. So I'm just going to start by creating a rectangle, and if I just draw something, by default it's going to be on the default layer because that's where the tick is. So in this case I've drawn it, so I can come and select it. I can select properties and then change it rather than layer to guidelines. So we've now got that there. But if I come back to layers and set the tick to guidelines, that's now going to draw anything I create on the guidelines layer that I've just created. So now I want to offset, so we have a little bit of a margin. So I'm going to come up here and type offset, and then distance, I want it to be 10 millimeters. Now I can't remember where that's going to happen. Let's just see. Yeah, 10 millimeters. So at this stage I'm working in millimeters. If you're in meters, that'll be different. So let's just see how this plays out. So 10 millimeters. So now I've created a sort of box on the inside. I'm going to delete this line because I don't want that box on the outside. And now I want to create some other elements to help me guide these details that I've created, and content that I want to put on. So to start with, I'm just going to create some lines. So I won't do a polyline, I'll just type in line. and then come here, and I've made sure I've got my O snaps or snaps on. So I've got a few on. Mid is important in this case. So I've got midpoint, so I can click there and draw to there, and then I've got another one. If I just push return again, it uses the last function. So there to, so you can see how that's a bit off. So you've got to make sure that I'm on midpoint, so I know that I'm following, and I can have ortho snapped as well, or grid snap even. So there's a lot of different ways of controlling that. So now I've got these sort of center lines, I guess, so that I can sort of use those to help. I want to divide these, so I have equal settings. So I'm going to go divide, select the curve. So I'm going to select this one, and I want to divide it by 8. So select 8 and then press enter. Hang on. And then done. And then here I've got mark endpoints. So that's the wrong number. I should have put 8. So let's just cancel that. Push return and it will come up with that. Select the curve, and then push enter or return, and then I want 8 here, and then I've got mark endpoint. So the line is staying constant, but I just want the endpoints marked in this particular case. So I can go done. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So we can do that again. So select that, push return. Because I'd already had the line selected and then press return, it sort of just moves on. I want this to be 6, and I want mark endpoints. Done. So we've got these sort of points basically. And now I want to copy I'll copy these lines around so that I can move them across. So I'm just going to do it copy because there's not many, but there's other ways of doing this. So I'll just go copy, and I can select that, and then enter or return. And I want to copy it from that. So I'm making sure I'm clicking on that endpoint, and you see it comes up, and then I can click there, 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 and get all those done. So in this case that's reasonably quick to do, so I can select that line, so I'm going to hit curve and then push copy, and I want to copy it from that point, so I can then go there, 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 and there. So now we've got this grid that we can use to help align content that we want to bring in or add in to what we're doing. So we've done that. The good thing about the guidelines, I'm going to select the default layer again, so I'm back always drawing on that, but I can turn that on and off, so you can see when I don't want it I can turn it off, and I can also lock it. So that means if I have it on, I can't move that or select that. So it becomes really useful as a way of guiding what we need. Right, so I'm going to come back to here. I've got that box. Hang on, let's just click out of that. I'm going to turn that off for a second. And you can see these boxes, so I can adjust these, what they call details, or I like the idea of viewport better. So I can obviously click and move that around. I can also click on the corners and move those sort of orthogonally, or in that little grid. So you can see I can change the shape of those, which can be quite helpful. So we'll come back here and just bring this up. Okay, so I've got that placed roughly at the moment. I want to bring in another detail, so I can go to the layout tab, and then we can come here and just check. So add detail view, so that's the second one in. So click on that. I'm going to turn my guides on so I can use that as a way to guide where I place it. And by default it's come in with the plan view, so I can come up and click on it. So you can see how it changes color depending. So we're sort of in the window now, and we can see here detail top view. I'm going to change this to set view perspective, and so you can see there we've got a perspective view of those now, and I'm going to change that to, I'll just do monochrome for now, so you can start to see the different parts. I'm just going to do that. So that's a sort of quick way of doing it. I also want to bring in, I've got this page. I might need to change some of these, so let's click on there, change that to monochrome as well, so you can sort of see we've got these elements set up, and then monochrome. And it looks grey now, but it's not. It's just sort of so we know we're in layout mode. So if we come back to the layouts in the panel here, I want to copy this because I want to do another one. So I can come over here and we can just duplicate layout. So here we've got a copy. I want to change this up, so we can click, we can see this one. I want to get rid of that, so I can just delete it. I'll leave those there for now. I want to bring in a image of my own, so I can come over to the command line, type in picture, and then we can select an image. So here I've got one that is an example, so I can click open, and that allows us, we can sort of decide where we want it. So we're going to click there. Where's it going? Picture, other point. Why is that not showing up? Let's try again. Open. Hang on. That. Oh, let's just pause this. Okay, so what happened there is I was still in this detail view or viewport. So, and that's why I was having issues with placing it, trying to place it over here. So you just got to make sure, in this case, we don't want it in the viewport, we want it on the layout. So we can come back to picture, if I spell it correctly, and then select the picture we want, open, and now I can figure out where I want it. I'm just going to click up here and use this as a guide, and you can see that's then sort of fitted in using my guide as an indicator, which is really helpful. The next thing we might want to do is add some text. So by default there's some 3D text which we don't want, so we can just type in text here and just go text and then hit return, and then this comes up, and you can see we're in millimeters, so 0.5 millimeters isn't going to be very good, so we need to adjust this to probably, let's say 20 millimeters, and then we can sort of decide, I don't like Arial as such, I'm going to pick a different font, so you can go in and change what font you want. I'm going to use this one, and then here I've got a number, so I can just say figure 01, whatever you want. You've got a little bit of control of how this all lays out, and then we can apply, so you can see we've got that there, and that's probably too big, so I can come back, click on it and go to properties, We can change things here, so let's make that maybe 5mm. That's probably a little bit better, even 4. So that gives us some control over that. So we can see now, and then we can move that if we want around. So I'm just going to do that, make sure there's enough space. So that's some of the main things that we can start to set up. A reminder, we can go back to layers, turn the grid off so we can see that. These lines here won't show up, so I can come into File and go Print, and there's a Rhino PDF is the description, so you can see here it's starting to print that out. So we've got a view of what's going to happen. We can control, depending on what you're wanting. See, at the moment it's a vector output. If we change it to raster, we get a little bit more of the rendering stuff happening in what we've created. And we can even print multiple views and stuff, multiple layouts, and we can set the scale. So here, scale to fit, basically we want it 1 to 1 at that scale, 100%. If we go there, so we can say 1 to 1. I think that should work. Yep. And there's a few other bits and bobs that you can play with there. So we can then hit print, and it will ask us to save that. So we can save. I've already done it, so I'm going to just give it a different name. Make up something. So we can quickly check that. So here it is here. And then we have, there's our layout all ready to go. So that's a quick overview. There's definitely a lot more that you can tweak and adjust. You can draw in here as well. So if I want a line, so I can draw a line there. Push return. I can change the line thickness of that, so I can come up here and even the line type, so I can do a dash line. I can make it change the scale of it, line type scale, the width, so I can go, actually I want a thick line there, even thicker. Etc, etc. I think we need to change so we can see how that prints, but you get the idea. So all the best.